Hello everyone, welcome to White Coat Wednesday. My name is Sue Barros and I am the Director of Enrollment Management for the University of Queensland Ochsner Clinical School. And today's guest is a fourth-year student, Donald Chang. Welcome Donald, thank you for joining me today.
Hi Sue, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and to share with you some of the answers to your questions.
Okay, well, first I'd like you to introduce yourself to our guests.
Okay.
A little bit about yourself.
Sure thing. So hi everybody, I'm Donald. I'm a fourth-year medical student graduating in just a few weeks. I'm a California native, and so my first time going to Australia and New Orleans was through this program, and I'm very excited to be here.
Well, Donald, let's start off with, why don't you tell our guests, how did you first become interested in studying medicine?
It's a good question. So for me, the process to medicine was very organic. I did not grow up in a family full of physicians or even have family friends that were physicians. My first real encounter with medicine was really when my brother got a critical illness, and I saw the miracles of science help give him back a good quality of life, and that happened actually after college. I started thinking about medicine from a different light. I'm always very into research, and because of the research track, I started rubbing elbows with some physician scientists, and those together kind of propelled me toward a path to become a physician.
Well, I love your story that it has such a personal meaning to you. Very good. Well, our audience may not know that the University of Queensland and Ochsner have a partnership. It's a unique medical school program in that you spend 2 years in Australia, in Brisbane, and then 2 years here doing your clinicals in New Orleans, Louisiana. So when you first received your offer from us, how did you decide to accept our offer and come here as a student?
That's a really good question, because I think if you're listening in and you're considering medical school, you're looking at all your options and you're weighing the pros and cons. So for me, I was looking for a medical school, first and foremost, that would give me a good chance to be a practicing licensed physician in the United States. And for that, you look at the match rates. And the University of Queensland Ochsner program has fantastic match rates. So that already checked off that box for me. The second part was I have extensive background in research. So for me, while I'm going to be in school for school, I wanted to have that door open to research should I want to pursue it. And the University of Queensland is a top 50 institution with Nobel Prize winners and lots of big labs and good research opportunities. And Ochsner has hundreds of clinical trials, so I knew that that opportunity would be there should I want to pursue it. And the last part is, of course, the experience. To go from Australia to New Orleans, there's nothing quite like it, and I found that to be very unique. I had a friend that went through the program who spoke highly of it himself, and so all that really sold me on coming here, and I've enjoyed it ever since.
Well, Donald, Australia, that sounds pretty exotic. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience living in Brisbane?
Sure can. So Brisbane is a lovely city. Being from California, I already kind of I'm a typical Californian. I have a laid-back personality. I like to cruise on the highway, that kind of flow. And Brisbane actually was a very easy transition. It has a big city structure, but it still has its small town roots, and everybody there is very friendly, very welcoming. The weather is beautiful, and of course there's the local Australian critters just outside the city. I was very fortunate to do a 4-week clerkship out in Clifton, which is a small town 2 to 3 hours away from the big city Brisbane, and after finishing clinic each day there'd be kangaroos and koalas out just wandering about, and that is just very unique, very memorable experience.
Amazing. I'd love to. I can't wait for my chance to get to Australia. So, as we all know, medical school, you have 2 years of coursework, followed by 2 years of clinical experience. So the paradigm shift of coming from Australia to New Orleans to start your clinicals has to be challenging. How did you navigate that?
That's a very good question as well. So just to elaborate that a little bit more, so put it in context, your first 2 years you're really hitting the books hard. This is where you're acquiring all that knowledge and clinical foundation which you have really yet to apply. And then your third and fourth years, that's when you're practicing it. You know, they call it the practice of medicine for a reason. That's when you start practicing it. So one of the unique aspects of the Queensland program is they have a really strong focus on the clinical aspect of it. From day one, or week one, you're starting to get into the clinic, you're starting to practice being on the wards and being familiar with that experience of being at the patient bedside, so you're comfortable in context. And I think that really helped me, because you're right, shifting that paradigm from the books to the bedside, it can be very jarring. And even for the best of us, it was still a very steep learning curve. But I felt pretty prepared through the Queensland program. They did a very good job of giving me the tools and the skills that I needed to adapt quickly and be effective on the wards and to start practicing my clinical knowledge and skills.
I'm sure that having that early patient contact must actually build your confidence. So that's great to hear that that happened.
Certainly does, yes.
Well, as you're coming to the end of your medical school career, can you sum up in general your thoughts about our school?
Yes, I can. So it's interesting how when you're at the end, you start thinking about the beginning. And, you know, when I think back on medical school, yeah, the majority of it was a lot of studying, which is what you're going to have to do to be a good physician. But really, the memories that kind of leap out to me are the unique parts of my medical school experience. The fun memories, the hangouts in cool, unique areas in Australia, at Gold Beach, going to see the Koala Sanctuary in New Orleans, exploring the French Quarters or Voodoo Fest, and exciting things like that. Those are kind of the memories that really are going to stick out and give me what I reflect back on this journey.
Excellent. So our viewers or prospective students that are considering medicine as a career, what advice do you have for them in general, and then if they're considering our school?
So if you're considering medicine in general, I think it's important to recognize that it's not just going to be a job, it's going to be a lifestyle. And it's going to require a high level of commitment and really some sacrifice too. So I think having that mindset early on is really going to help you in your career towards medicine. Because at the end of the day, you've got to put your patients first. And sometimes that will require quite a bit of sacrifice and commitment, even during tough times in our lives. In this particular program, I would say if you're considering the University of Queensland Ochsner Clinical School, it's a very good program. One of the most amazing things about this program is you get out of it what you put into it. Yeah, there is so many resources, so many amazing attendings and physicians and mentors throughout that anything is really possible if you set your mind to it. And I think that's one of the best assets of being part of this program.
So true. That's great advice, Donald. So I have to congratulate you.
Thank you, Sue.
You are going to graduate in a few days.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't call you Donald anymore. I'll be calling you Dr. Chang.
Please call me Donald.
Nope, it's going to be Dr. Chang because you earned that. What are your next steps?
So, for me, I have a family, wife and 2 lovely sons. I'll be spending some good time with them, some father-son bonding time, and taking my wife out on a nice few dates. I also was very fortunate to receive the postdoctoral scholarship here, actually studying and working on the illness that my brother had. So it's come full circle. I'm very lucky to do that here at Ochsner. So I'll be doing both family personal bonding time as well as continuing on in my scholarly activities here at Ochsner.
Well, you've had an amazing medical school career and also your leadership in our society. The Ochsner Medical Student Association. We appreciate your service for that. And I want to thank you for joining us today and providing this valuable information to our prospective students.
Happy to be here, Sue. Thank you for inviting me.
All righty, you're welcome.